Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion and the second half of my daily astrology vlog, which you can check out on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. Over there, you'll find a description of the day's astrological aspects. Here, I will discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page, and then I'll play another card that, in the context of the day's astrology, may just give us something more to think about. So, let's get into it. The card that currently sits on the side of the page is the Ten of Wands. And the Ten of Wands is here for a reason. It's here because it corresponds in astrology with the final 10 days or the third decan of the sun's transit here in the land of Sagittarius. Now, Sagittarius is a fire sign, and Wands and Tarot equate to fire element symbolism. And fire element symbolism is very much about passion, inspiration, initiative, willpower, that will to act, what drives us forward. There's a creative impulse with Wands that has to do with taking action. It has to do with the fire that it takes, sort of the heat that it takes, the work that it takes to take an action, and also there's some like pride and reflection on the achievements that we have made in life. So here we come to the Ten of Wands, and the Ten of Wands is the final numbered card in the story of the Wands. So we're at a sort of endpoint. We've come to the end of a road, and we see a person here who is carrying all 10 wands. And I like to think of wands as like markers of our achievements, you know, those goals that we have unlocked along the way. Often, you know, we have when we have a large overarching goal, then there are lots of smaller goals that we have to achieve along the way to getting to that larger goal. And here we are, we're at the end. Okay, we've done all of this. These are all markers of our various achievements, of our various goal accomplishments. And now we are here at the final one. We're carrying all those achievements with us, sort of, you know, almost too proud to put them down, right? Bent over with the weight of all of this of all of this work we've done, with bent over with the weight of carrying these achievements with pride, and sort of so interested in holding them up that we are blinding ourselves even to the path forward. So that's sort of the warning that comes with this card, is that, you know, even though you may have put in a lot of effort, and certainly you should be recognized for your accomplishments, even if it just takes you recognizing your own accomplishments, right? Certainly, once those accomplishments have been recognized and you've met your final goal, it's a good time to think about, not trying to carry this forward anymore, but actually finding a way to put down this set of accomplishments so that you can move on to your next adventure. Okay, don't get to this goal, this thing that you were passionate about, that you managed to achieve, and say, I think I can carry this, load of achievements, another 10 miles. Okay, we don't have to carry this load of achievements another 10 miles. If you made your goal, if you reached the level of accomplishment you wanted to be able to appreciate this time around, then it's time to lay down this burden. Okay, lay down the sense of responsibility that you have to keep carrying this on, because you had a responsibility to carry it to this point because you said you were going to do it. But now your responsibility is complete. So put it down. All right, lighten your load. Lay your burden down, and this way you can stand up straight and take a deep breath and have a little rest and look around you and see what there is next to do. And with that said, I'm going to turn this card over. Oh, I have the Knight of Swords. Okay. So swords in Tarot are about the rationale, the mental faculty, the way we think, the way we plan, the way we communicate. And especially, when it comes to swords, we're talking about the sword of truth, the double-edged sword of truth, where, with our thoughts, plans, and communications, with the words we use and the plans we make, we can either, help or do harm, right? So, the Knight of Swords here, his or her, their trajectory. The word trajectory comes across very clearly because of this obvious sort of rushing in motion that comes with this card. Their trajectory is always in the interest of helping, right? The knights want to help. Knights want to, protect. Knights seek to, battle the dragon, battle the evil thing that is causing harm to the people. And in this iteration, the Knight of Swords does battle, with the brain, with the thought, the rationale, with the plans they make. There's strategy involved. I wanted to say strategery, but I really don't think that's a word. I think that's a word that I made up. So there's strategy involved, and there is the sharp use of words, right? A very sharp mental faculty, and a very clear sense that we know logically what it is that we're about here as we rush into this situation. So sometimes when I see the Knight of Swords, I think fools rush in, and I have in the past, looked at this card and thought of it as really an opportunity to think twice before we speak, right? Because sometimes we just rush in and say things that we think are helpful, or that we think will, help other people see things more clearly. But, if we don't think twice before we speak, we might actually wind up doing harm instead of helping with our words. We might wind up, either harming that person or that situation, or at least our connection to that person. Okay, so sort of think twice, speak once. All right. But the Knight of Swords also, this says that we are supported in coming in with this speed and with this very clear rationale. Okay. We don't do this just, we don't do this simply from a place of a person standing on the ground with a sword, like the Page of Swords. The Knight of Swords comes in on a horse. Okay, so they have the support, and they have the sort of vehicle that they need, and by that I mean, for example, swords relates a lot to justice. Okay, and so as far as support and a vehicle would be, that would be like perhaps a law degree, right? And certification through the bar, right? Then you have a vehicle by which you can come in and sort of dispense that justice, the justice of your words and your plans, right? So that is one example of how we might use our words and plans in, a sort of in a supported and justified way, even if we're coming in, speedy, quick to try to help a situation. So coming from the chart today, where do I see the Knight of Swords? Well, okay, so for one thing, Mercury is still conjunct to Venus over here in the land of Capricorn. They're drifting a little bit farther apart now, but Mercury and Venus. So we're thinking very much about the stuff that we desire, the stuff we like, love, and can't get enough of. We're very much interested in, in planning for what would help us feel supported, what would help us feel, safe and stable in our lives. And that's Venus. Venus is Taurus, and it's Libra. It's about justice, and it's also just about, having what we need specifically, especially in the physical world. So Mercury has got us thinking very much about what we need. And because we got the Knight of Swords and we're talking about justice, I'm thinking about Mercury has us in this mind of really seeking balance and fairness and justice in a situation, right? Currently, today, this conjunct is trine with the moon. So we have this very sort of auspicious moment where we can have, loving interactions with our family and friends. We can have great conversations with our family and friends. We can plan together with people that we like to keep close. And that trine vibration says, best possible functioning for that kind of endeavor. In the meantime, Mercury is quincunx to Mars, Mars is retrograde in Gemini, ruled by Mercury. I know I sound like a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, right? But these two are talking to each other, okay? Mars is exalted in Capricorn, and Mercury is the ruler of Gemini. So there's an adjustment being made here with this quincunx. It says, in our thoughts and words, we sort of adjust our active impulse to rush in, right? Mars is retrograde and it's in Gemini, so there's less of this ability to just think once and rush in. Again, it's going to be think twice, speak once, right? Think twice, act one time, right? So you need a couple of different approaches in mind. You need to be able to you need to be able to handle the fact that you might have to try more than once, right? It's not gonna be just as simple as clean as riding in here on your horse and making a cut and doing justice, right? And then also, Moon is in Virgo today, starting at 2:45 this morning, Central Standard Time. So Virgo is also ruled by Mercury, and this is very much about, our sensitive, analytical hearts, okay? It's a good time, to be setting things up, assembling things, reassembling things, getting organized, sort of doing the meticulous work of going through things, especially as we are nearing the first quarter moon. So we're still thinking about what it is, and maybe working on it a little bit, what it is that we would like to be getting rid of at this time in terms of thoughts, attitudes, dispositions, emotional crutches, but also stuff and things that are cluttering up our creative bubble, both internally and externally. Okay, so this is a great time to be making those stacks by the door of things that no longer serve a purpose, because if they don't serve a purpose, Virgo is really not very interested in it. All right, and then Nine of Wands and the Knight of Swords. It's almost like, we can see somebody carrying this burden, right? Like trying to carry this too far. Like, hey, I've had this magnificent success and I think I can just, keep carrying this success for another 10 miles and it will be the same success. It won't be the same success if you keep carrying it, okay? It doesn't get better from here, okay? It just gets heavier and harder to do. So, it's time to put it down, but sometimes we don't see that. Sometimes we just feel so good about the success and so good about the strength that we're showing in carrying this that we don't know when to make the cut. Okay, so sometimes we have to show up for somebody else, or someone else has to show up for us when they see us carrying this burden, trying to do too much, trying to carry on with something that is no longer helping us grow and achieve what it is that we want to do in the world. And so somebody has to show up for somebody else and say, hey, time to make the cut. It's time to put your burden down. Okay, let's go ahead and lay these sticks on the ground and admire them and recognize this accomplishment so that you can move on. Okay, it's time to get to the next level too, because 10 is followed by page and then by knight. So there's a sort of ascension implied here that says, now that you have learned how to achieve these goals, now that you know how to create this thing, then perhaps you can do some justice in the world. Perhaps you can bring some balance and fairness in the world by educating others how they can, by getting a foundation under yourself, like a teaching license, right? A teaching certificate or something like that, so that you can educate others how to achieve like that. And I believe that's all I have to say about it today. Thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate it that you show up and listen to me ramble about tarot and astrology. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more astrology today and tarot.